RCV axles are some of the strongest axle shafts that you can put in a Jeep axle. But would you believe me if I said you could get a poor man RCV out of a Jeep ZJ or a Jeep WJ? Both of these can come with a CV style axle shaft, and the ZJs will actually fit into an XJ or a TJ axle. Now most Jeeps run a standard U-joint axle shaft, and they definitely are stronger in a straight line. However, they have some holdbacks as well that make them a little bit weaker. For example, with the U-joint, every degree that you actually turn your steering wheel, they get a little bit weaker, where a CV style joint does not do that. And let's be honest, when you're off-roading and you're getting a little caught up, you're turning that wheel back and forth, you're pretty much always at an angle. So while the CV style might be weaker in a straight line at turns, they become pretty even depending on how sharp you turn your wheel. That being said, I'm interested to hear what you guys would prefer. Would you prefer to keep the U-joint style axle shafts, or would you go with the CV style? Now, the stock CVs do have some holdbacks, and they're definitely nowhere near an RCV shaft. For example, that rubber boot that it comes with, those will tear and let mud in. Now, an RCV shaft does not come with the rubber boot. It comes with a more hard plastic one, which prevents it from tearing nearly as easily. Now, the stock ones are also much weaker, but that being said, they definitely have some strengths that seem to be overlooked by a lot of people. Another massive advantage to these CV style joints is that if you do happen to break the joint, on a U-joint, it can really cause some damage. You can't really keep driving on it. You can snap the ears on the axle shaft. You can pop the ball joints out and pretty much just destroy your front end. But with the CV style, it'll fail and you won't be getting power to the tire. However, you can keep driving on it without swapping out that axle shaft, which might just be the difference between being stuck and stranded on the trails and getting it back to the trailer and taking it home to fix it. Another huge plus is these CV style shafts are super cheap. They're like $80 a piece, so $160 for the set. That is basically nothing when it comes to Jeep parts, and is definitely a huge discount over RCV shafts, as those can be thousands and thousands of dollars depending on what axle you're putting them in. But they don't come anywhere near real RCVs, so if you want the best of the best, I would still recommend getting the true thing. So as always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.